Hey everybody, it's me, Remy the Comic Book Poser. I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poseverse. It's Monday, so you know what that means. It's time to see how bad I suck at counting to 5, where I give you my top 5-ish comics from last week's New Comic Book Day that you should check out if you missed out on them on this week's New Comic Book Day. So to find out how bad I am at counting to 5, and how many books I really enjoyed from last week, you'll check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Couple of quick announcements before I start showing off books. Number one, don't forget, I've got my weekly Whatnot comic auction happening this Thursday night at 8:30 Central. I really like the theme for this week. Instead of the no key issues week, this week it's the comics of toys of your childhood. So if you were a 70s, 80s, 90s kid, you came to age in those periods of time, get ready for some Power Rangers, some Turtles, some Transformers, some Alien, toys, pops, comics, all of that alike. So I really hope that y'all enjoy what I'm going to try and do on Thursday night. Number two, there's a very good chance that tonight on this channel that Metaphorical's auction will happen over here. That Meta needed a day off because he is the most involved man all over the place. So if you see things go live tonight around 7 p.m. Central, then know that I might be around depending on what my kids are doing, or that you'll have somebody amazing hosting and walking you through the evening for the Amazing Midnight Mafia auction. Come spend some of that KKCR and see what kind of dope things those folks are giving away. Without further ado, I'm real bad at counting to 5 this week. There are 10 books that I absolutely fell in love with from last week's New Comic Book Day. One of the reasons why I think this list is artificially inflated is because Scout had a printing delay, so they had a bunch of books come out on the 8th instead of books that were spread out across 2 or 3 previous New Comic Book Days. So when you see some of the books that I picked, you'll know which ones will be up there in the top 5. So we'll try and be quick. We got 10 books, so here are your honorable mentions. Honorable mention number 1 is Joker Puzzle Box number 2. I know that this is not necessarily a new book to a lot of people because this is one of the DC Digital first books that they are printing, but very fun story. I really like seeing how everybody is playing with Commissioner Gordon. That I really like what's happening in the Joker storyline because we get to see Detective Jim Gordon at his finest, so I really am liking a puzzle box for that same reason. Daredevil number 34 was also an amazing issue this last week, getting to see why Daredevil may have been acting so out of character at the end of number 33. What in the heck is going on with Typhoid Mary, and what kind of showdown we may be building towards with all the bullseyes. Very good book. Next, from Dark Horse, we've got Jeff Lemire's Maze book. This is getting us set up into a trippy universe. He's doing all of the art and the writing on it about a man who has not seen his daughter. His memory is also not the greatest thing in the world, but you find out that he's going to get woven into her world relatively soon. We've got The Me You Love in the Dark number 2 from Image Comics. That this is Scotty Young and Jorge Corona are the top 2 names on the billing. Number 1 was very intriguing to me. That my continuation of pulling this series really was going to depend on how issue number 2 went, and I enjoyed it a bunch. And then your last honorable mention of the week is Not All Robots number 2. You've got Mark Russell, Mike Deodato Jr., and Lee Lowridge on this. Seeing 2 rising revolutions happening between the humans and the robots is something that is fascinating, especially in the middle of the book where there are panels where the stories start to cross over, that you are seeing both sets of people are using the exact same rhetoric to set up the righteousness of their cause. I think I did that quick. Coming in at number 5, from Vault Comics is The Last Book You'll Ever Read, issue number 2. This is Cullen Bunn, Layla Leitz, Giada Marchiso, Vlad Popov, and Jim Campbell on the letters. So one of the things that I talked about in both the weekly poll and the FOC video for when issue number 2 was coming out was I like the idea of people kind of reaching into their primal instincts because of what is happening in the book. We don't know if the author really knew what this book was capable of doing, or if she's really as innocent as she seems to be. In this book, we get interesting interactions between her and the security individual that she has hired to help her, where he tries to rein her back in, and she kind of rebuffs him and continues to do some of the reading. So I can't wait to see how this series continues to twist, because I don't think this woman is as innocent as she's putting up. Coming in at number 4 from Scout Comics is Black Cotton, and I'll put up the same picture I put up every time I preview this of me dripping in all my Black Cotton swagoo. It's Patrick Foreman and Brian Hawkins who are doing the story. Hawkins is writing the script. Perugini and Zamora are on the art and the letters. We have continued turmoil within the Cotton family. We have the excitement of whatever was showing up at the end of book number 4 with the Japanese gang folks with swords. That it seems as one chapter is slowly starting to close as we figure out whether or not charges will be filed against the youngest Cotton, who is the police officer who shot the white woman in issue number 1. That we may be opening another chapter, but delving more into the Cotton family's past, with whatever in the Sam Hill is going on with these samurai who are showing up. And I don't even know if samurai is the right phrase, but it's my bad. White people assimilation of anybody with a katana is clearly a samurai. Coming in at number 3, also from Scout Comics, is Redshift number 2. This is by H.S. Tak and Brent McKee. Both this and Black Cotton have previews up, or reviews of them, depending on when you're reading it, because one of them, I wrote them before they came out. You might be reading it after it came out, so it's both a preview and a review. Words are hard. But this is number 2. Launch day is upon us. We get to find out who is going to be the next person leaving the station from the planet Mars to go into deep space to find what is hopefully the next place, or the place that can sustain human life. We get more looks into the family's history, but we also get to see more of an understanding of maybe how messed up the society is in terms of whether or not resources are allocated correctly. We get some clues into the black market that is happening around this colony, and it's just a really good book. So we're back to a monthly release on this one instead of the 3-month delay between issue number 1 and 2. So you should definitely check this out if you have not yet. Coming in at number 2 from Mad Cave Studios is Bountiful Garden number 1. It's by Ivy Noel Weir, Kelly Williams, Giorgio Spalletta, and Justin Birch on the letters. This is something that I previewed the moment that it hit the portal, the moment that they started pushing this in previews before it came out on, or the early parts came out on Free Comic Book Day. We've got a bit of a space theme going on, and a human survival theme going on, especially between Redshift and Bountiful Garden, but you've got children who have been awoken because they are dealing with a journey into space where they are trying to, again, find a place for them to connect with their families to survive. All of these children are technical experts in different scientific fields, things that my brain is way too dumb to understand because I'm not a science person. But we start to see what happens when they come together. We start to see what challenges and threats that they are dealing with in an area where they maybe think they have found some habitable life, finding a place where they can set up and live. And oh boy, we got some creepy crawlies that are starting to show at the end of the book. I think this is amazing. This might be my favorite book from Mad Cave Studios right now, that I'm in love with. Some of the things that came out with that class of talent search winners that I fell in love with. I really, really love Nottingham right now. But based on issue number 1 from this, I think it may be eking its way to the top for now. It's really good, and y'all know I'm a Mad Cave Homer. And I know that selecting some of these books it's very Sophie's Choice and feel, so I'm sorry if I picked the wrong child, but I really like this. Y'all should definitely check this one out. And our final book of the week, I said it in the blog post, I said it in the weekly poll video, that this is going to be one of those books that I knew was going to be towards the top. I really thought Bountiful Garden was going to be my pick of the week until I read the final book from this 5-part miniseries. Our champion from Boom Studios is Eve number 5 by Victor Lavelle, Jo Mi Gyong, and Brittany Peer. I'm really glad that I picked this book up. That I honestly did not have issue number 1 on my poll. I saw other people tweeting about it and talking about it the day that issue number 1 came out, and thankfully my shop still had one on the new issue table when I got there in the afternoon, and it's a series that I've absolutely fallen in love with. This is a hard book to kind of talk about because you don't want to spoil anything in a series conclusion, so I'll just kind of direct you back to the blog post where I think there are 2 things that I really enjoy about this book and what earned it this week's top spot. The first is that I think it did a really good job of wrapping a very complex story up in 5 issues, that it had so many different challenges going on that I was like, ooh, are they going to stick the landing, right? They gave themselves a high degree of difficulty, and, you know, everybody at the Olympics but the Russian judge probably gave them their due score. But the second thing that I really liked about this book is the letter or essay that Victor Lavelle has at the end of the book, kind of talking about how he is connected to this kind of story, comparing it to some of the other work that he did, and kind of talking about how, you know, writing stories with children as the protagonist are quite difficult, but creating something that becomes as diverse as Eve is as a story, kind of depicting kids in a way that kind of gives hope for the future, is something that can be inspiring to kids to see themselves or individuals like them in the kinds of stories that we all love. That I was so moved by that final letter, but this to me was a home run in terms of pulling off an ending to a series that I've loved from start to finish. So what do you think? I know that if you're here in the live chat, we're probably chatting. I think it's over here. I'm confused now with my new camera setup. If you're watching this on the rewind, let me know what you think about my picks in the comments down below. We agree on books, do we disagree? Let's have some dialogue. I'm down to do all that. But I'm excited to share some things throughout the rest of the week. On Tuesday, I will be revealing what I am doing for the September channel member giveaway and the September Patreon giveaway. Also, if you missed it last week on Friday, not only did I release Who Won What in August, but I also teased the 1,100 and 1,250 subscriber giveaway. We're almost to that 1,100 mark, so the grind is still going to be daily to get in and get to that 1,100 mark, so I can give away a dope mystery box to somebody who supports the channel or supports the community writ large. And then I've got a couple other little fun things that I won't talk about now, but I'll leave some breadcrumbs on social media. So as always, y'all, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4.